Hey everybody, this is the crazy cracker Albinacers coming back at ya. Welcome back all gamers, and today we're going to have a look at the refining process in No Man's Skies. Now this has changed over and numerous different patches that they've brought out for No Man's Skies, so we're just going to go and have a quick look at our refining area. So we have a massive area here just dedicated for refining, because in my case, for example, I love to refine and make nanites, so I buy in bulk a huge quantity of material. In this case it would be runaway mold. That's because the unit price is 20 units and it roughly takes twice the length of time that it takes platinum. Platinum can also be changed into nanites, but it takes 303 units to pay for one of these. Yeah, so it's a lot more expensive than runaway mold is, and because runaway mold is only twice, it takes twice the length of time to process compared to platinum, it's the ideal choice. You can also choose this, which is called viscous fluids, but unfortunately the problem with viscous fluids is that if we just come we just go over here for a second, because I have all those refineries occupied, because I've got a whole list of different recipes that you can use to make. So we'll just come here for a second and we put in the viscous fluid. Now it's going to take 1 minute and 6 seconds, roughly with 15 milliseconds, to process this into what we call living slime. So we do that, and while that's doing, we're going to go to the next refining unit here, and we're going to have a look at putting in the runaway mold. So the runaway mold takes 1 minute and 15 seconds. So we're going to leave that processing. Now, while that's processing, we're going to run over here and we're going to put in the platinum. And as you can see, the platinum processes in half a minute. So it's extremely quick. So we'll actually have the platinum processed before the rest of the other items. And it's like different items, for example, like this pugneum doesn't work in these refining units. And before, when we only had the small refining units, they would have certain recipes that worked only in the small refining unit. But if you were to go to the big refining unit, there would be a different process. So I'm not sure if those have been changed. So as you can see, this is still processing. Okay, now this one here is, it's actually taking a lot longer than what it said. It's actually 5 minutes from the looks of it. So that is slow. They've slowed this down immensely. Oh wow. So it's a lot slower than actually what it puts on it. That is ridiculous. So as you can see, this has been processed. So obviously this is the best choice, the best value for money, comparing it for time-wise production. So that's the reason why, is as you can see, this living slime, just so you can get an idea. Okay, we're gonna take it out when we have 85. And we leave the rest processing. Okay, so then we take the living slime and we put the living slime back in again, and that will give you runaway mold. Oh boy. Now it's taking 2 minutes just for that. So yeah, it's roughly 5 minutes. So you're talking about 10 minutes just to process all of this into nanites. It's ridiculous. So obviously it doesn't make sense to buy the viscous fluids. Now if you had an automated process that you could leave it to do all by itself, well then that would be a possibility. So anyway, coming over here, obviously these small refining units, you can see here that if you put in sodium, for example, you get sodium nitrate. So like, and obviously the pugmium doesn't work here. I don't think of anything else I can put in. Yeah, so then they're just individual units, and the downfall, the problem with these units is you have to supply them with carbon or condensed carbon. So for example, you have pyrite, which turns into the ferrite dust, and then you have, like, for example, chlorine, which turns into salt, and then you have paraffinium, which turns into ferrite dust. A lot of items seem to turn into ferrite dust. And you have silver, which turns into glass. It's pretty handy. And then we have the dioxide, which turns into ferrite dust. So as you can see, lots of these items. Why did that move? That's weird. It's at the same distance. It is, isn't it? Yeah, this whole row is all wrong. I'll have to move those back. Okay, anyway, but we'll worry about that later, not now. So then we have, next up we have sodium, which I said is sodium nitrate. Then you have frost crystal, which turns into carbon. And then you have gold, which turns into pyrite. Now the great thing about the refining unit is not that the tritium turns into dihydrogen. And also, for example, let's see here if I can hold on, just get an item from my main storage. Here we go. So there we go. So this the gel, so the dihydrogen gel can be turned into dihydrogen as well, and you can turn the dihydrogen if you want it into tritium. Okay. Next we have things like, for example, over here actually. Let's see here. Yeah, so just give me a second. I'm going to swap out items from my main storage. So I'm going to grab the Herox. We're going to grab the dirty bronze. So this stuff you can buy in shops and stores if you want. And it's extremely useful for these types of processes if you want to if you just want to have like compact materials. So for example, if I put in the Herox here, it'll be turned into silver, and as you can see, it's a 1 to 250 process. So I mean, I can literally get 1,250 out of this process. Now as you can see here, it's not marking it correctly, the same as before with the time for the viscous fluid. It wasn't being demonstrated properly, the time frame. So there are minor bugs with it still that Hello Games need to sort out. But for example, if we just do this process, I mean, it's super quick. So we just grab that. So I mean in general the whole process is fairly quick. So as you can see, it's not saying 1025, now it's saying, it's actually demonstrating the real quantity of the items. Okay, so as you can see now, we have 1,250 silver. So that's fairly handy. So we'll just finish processing these guys, and then I'll show you the rest of the items, which are pretty cool too. So in case you want to seriously expand your ship, well, you can literally buy the Herox. I think you can buy the Herox, and you can also buy the dihydrogen gel now, as far as I know. So you could literally expand your ship, your freighter, your capital ship fairly quickly. This dirty bronze also gives you silver. Again, you see it's marking the wrong quantity, so that's unfortunate. It's just a minor mistake. So it's the same over here. For example, we can do the mango gold, which turns into gold. so that's handy. And this one obviously is a 1 to 125 ratio, so it's not as beneficiary as the other one, but still you get a large quantity out of it for a small item. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take that out for a second and then put the last 3 in. So there we go. Okay, so as you can see, you can buy these stuffs and process them. That's not all you can do with the refining units, which is I find pretty awesome. You can also double your outputs. That's a pretty unique process. So yeah, here we have lemium, for example, which turns into gold. And let's see if I can. I don't know if I have another one here. That's just a giant. These are the lemium there too. I thought I had ammonium too somewhere. Well, we'll have a look at that now in a second. So you can also buy ammonium, and that will give you. So let's just go and buy ammonium for a second. Leave these guys processing. So I need to put in actually a shopping unit just here, so I don't have to run over here. So I think I can buy in here ammonium. Let's see. I can buy dirty bronze. No, I can't buy ammonium. Okay, that's a pity. But anyway, so yeah, if you can buy ammonium, that also gets turned into silver. So that's a pretty, handy item to have. But also, for example, let's say you want to double your output. So over here, as far as I know, I've got a couple of processes where they're being doubled. I think here. No, this is not being doubled. Hold on. Yeah. So here, for example, if you mix chlorine with oxygen, it's giving you a 2 to 6 ratio. So it's tripling your output, which is pretty, it's pretty awesome. So, for example, let's just run the process. So it's giving you a 6 to 1 ratio, 2 to 6 ratio for the oxygen, and a 1 to 6 ratio. So obviously when you get to a 250 here, you'll be at 1/6 the maximum here. So if it's 250, you're talking about roughly like maybe 40. So it'll be about 210 or thereabouts, more or less. So as you can see, and then usually they put in more oxygen. So that's just a doubling effect that you can do with the refining process. Kelp sack, for example, you can turn it into oxygen. Okay, and here, for example, we have another doubling. It's almost like 2.5ing, really. It's a 2 to 5 ratio. So it's giving you condensed carbon, but it's giving you at a 2.5 ratio. So it's pretty awesome. And here, for example, you have a 1 to 2 ratio using marrow bulb and oxygen, and it's giving you condensed carbon. So you've not only got doubling effects, you've also got transformation effects, again like this. So the dioxide and the oxygen will give you 4-os crystals. Okay, obviously that's at a loss. And then you have here, for example, you have coprite and pugnium. So pugnium before, as you saw, it didn't do anything. But when you mix it with coprite, you can actually use it to make gold. So don't discount when you're looking at your thing. Here's another thing. So it's like you have mordite, obviously, because coprite is just the unrefined process of mordite. Mordite is a process of coprite. So obviously these two make gold as well. And then over here you have sodium and mordite, which will allow you to make marrow bulb. In case you need marrow bulb, you can make plants. So as you can see, the processing is absolutely awesome. This is another doubling effect with the phosphorus and the selenium. You can double the output of selenium. So it's pretty handy and straightforward. And then we have here, we have another process of pugnium with marrow bulb, which allows us to make ionized cobalt. And then obviously in these units here, for example, with sulfurine and dihydrogen, we're able to make selenium. So I mean, the actual refining process is pretty unique. Carbon and other hydrogen that will allow us to, you know, make coprite. So you don't have to technically farm. You don't have to technically learn a recipe to grow a plant, because for example the frost crystal, you don't need to learn that process. You can literally just create it in a refining process. So then we have oxygen to hydrogen, which makes salt, and then up here we have just dihydrogen, which I showed you before. You can turn it into dihydrogen jelly and vice versa. And then over here, like I said before, we have the other processes. So you have like fungal mold mixed with ammonia, and that will give you a doubling process on your fungal mold. So that's pretty handy as well and straightforward. And this one I think I showed already. This isn't, yeah, that's the same one, isn't it? I think. No, sorry. So this is pure ferrite and emerald, which allows you to triple your output of chromatic metal. So that's fairly handy as well. This one we saw already, which was a uranium and pure ferrite, which can make the pyrite. Okay. And then down here we have lemium, I showed you before. Over here we have oxygen and uranium, allows us to make gamma root. This is another one where you don't have to technically learn the recipe of gamma root to grow it. You can literally just make it in the refinery. So that's a pretty awesome way of, you know, farming without actually needing to know recipes. Here's another one with ferrite dust and phosphorus, which allows us to make uranium. So there's many different recipes. I'm sure there's even loads more recipes I haven't actually found yet, because I haven't had the time to actually dig further into the refining process. But as you can see, I mean, here for example, we're doubling the frost crystal output just by using dioxide. So that's pretty handy as well in case you need to double your crystal output. And then here for example, we can make dioxide using frost crystals and salt. So I mean, it's I think it's a process that's really under, you know, it's not looked upon with the same, you know, as like maybe just going and farming and buying stuff. And I think people need to try and get more in depth with the refining process. So that's just a quick introduction, guys, to how the refining process works in No Man's Skies. So all I want to say is that you keep on searching, keep on flying through the skies, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Check out all the recipes, keep investigating the refining process. You might be able to find new recipes, and if you do, drop a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what that recipe is, because I'd love to know. I'm gonna take note of all these different recipes and I'm gonna make a small chart. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and as always, please have loads of fun in No Man's Sky, and I'll catch you in the next episode. I'll probably gonna do the live stream again in a wee bit. Just gonna do this small introduction video to refining, and then I'll probably get back to doing some normal to the center of the map kind of live stream. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out. Be good. Bye bye.